When installing a new hot tub circuit, specifically a 50-amp circuit using non-metallic sheath cable, understanding the National Electrical Code requirements is critical. The primary point of contention revolves around the correct gauge of non-metallic sheath cable to use. The electrician said that 6/3 non-metallic sheath cable is needed because the 60°C temperature rating must be used. The other electrician proposed 8/3 non-metallic sheath cable is sufficient, citing its 55-amp rating. The National Electrical Code specifies ampacity ratings for conductors based on their insulation temperature rating. Common temperature ratings are 60°C, 75°C, and 90°C. Non-metallic sheath cable, commonly used in residential wiring, has specific limitations. Non-metallic sheath cable ampacity must be determined using the 60°C column in the ampacity tables of the National Electrical Code, specifically Table 310.15. D16, unless certain conditions are met that allow the use of the 75°C column. The reason for this lies in the termination temperature limitations of the equipment to which the non-metallic sheath cable is connected. Many residential circuit breakers and other devices are only rated for 60°C terminations. Therefore, even if the cable insulation is rated for a higher temperature, the lowest rated termination temperature dictates the ampacity that can be used. In the context of a 50-amp circuit, let's examine the ampacity of 6 and 8 gauge non-metallic sheathed cable. According to the 60°C column of the National Electrical Code ampacity table, 6-gauge copper conductors are typically rated for 55 amps, and 8-gauge copper conductors are rated for 40 amps. The statement that 8/3 non-metallic sheath cable is good for 55 amps is only true if the 75°C rating is applicable. However, as previously mentioned, the 60°C rating is generally required for non-metallic sheath cable in residential applications because of termination temperature limitations. Therefore, using 8-gauge non-metallic sheath cable for a 50-amp circuit would be a violation of the National Electrical Code. The correct choice is 6/3 non-metallic sheath cable. Even though the 60°C ampacity of 6-gauge copper is 55 amps, it is acceptable for a 50-amp overcurrent device, such as a circuit breaker. This is because the next standard overcurrent device size rule in the National Electrical Code allows the use of the next higher standard overcurrent device if the conductor ampacity does not correspond to a standard overcurrent device size. However, it is best practice to size the conductor to match the overcurrent device as closely as possible. Therefore, 6-gauge copper conductors are the appropriate choice for a 50-amp circuit using non-metallic sheath cable. There are situations where the 75°C ampacity rating can be used for non-metallic sheath cable. This is permitted only if both of the following conditions are met. Firstly, the terminations at both ends of the cable must be rated for 75°C or higher. Secondly, the entire length of the cable must be installed in a location where the ambient temperature does not exceed the temperature rating of the cable insulation. In most residential installations, these conditions are not met. Attics and crawl spaces can often exceed the temperature rating of non-metallic sheath cable, especially during the summer months. Furthermore, many residential circuit breakers and other devices are only rated for 60°C terminations. Therefore, it is generally necessary to use the 60°C ampacity rating for non-metallic sheath cable in residential applications. In summary, when installing a 50-amp hot tub circuit using non-metallic sheath cable, 6/3 non-metallic sheath cable is the correct choice. The 60°C ampacity rating must be used in most residential applications, and 8/3 non-metallic sheath cable is not sufficient for a 50-amp circuit under these conditions. Always consult the National Electrical Code and local electrical codes for specific requirements and to ensure safe and compliant electrical installations.